5 years, we've been helping families through the hardest times like Inwood and Charlestown Ranson. We're here when you need us.
We have the tools, we have the talent. It's Miller time.
It's Miller time on Talk Radio WRNR. A look at local sports with the play-by-play voice of local sports, Matt Miller.
Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome into this Monday edition of Miller Time. Matt Miller along with Matt Crawford in studio on a rainy afternoon. While we're in studio, there are some high school football and maybe even soccer teams and other fall sports in the area and around the Mountain State who are out getting wet right now. It is officially the start of the academic and athletic year.
So the rain doesn't matter. It's the first day of practice. Everybody's hyped up anyway. The rain doesn't matter.
That'll be one of my questions to Martinsburg head coach David Walker as I ask him about the weather and its impact on getting practice started. We got a chance to catch up with Coach Walker as well as Buddy Hessen, the defensive coordinator for the Bulldogs, and we'll bring you those conversations coming up in our next segment at about 5:20, and then in the second half hour, we'll hear from the other. Whichever one we go with first, but probably a head coach first.
Yeah, you got to start at the top. Start at the top and work your way down.
There you
Nothing
go.
against Coach Hessen.
No, because they've been together the entire time. Since Coach Walker came to become the head coach, Buddy Hessen joined the staff at that time, and they have been together throughout. A winning combination.
Consistency.
That's it. You look up and down that coaching staff, and you see a number of guys that have been there for 10-plus years. And you see, even in the younger guys, they've been there 6, 7, 8 years. And many of them played at some point in time, whether at Martinsburg or even back to East Hardy and Britt Sherman, Coach Sherman, who's been there now 14, 15 years. You know, they've played for Coach Walker. So they are fully aware of the system and what's expected and how to go about things. That consistency in this coaching staff, I think, has helped to lead to a lot of their success.
Well, and that just goes to show you how good of a program it is. That you can just it's one thing to have somebody play for you, but then them to think highly enough of how you coach and the program you have to want to come back and coach underneath you. I think that just goes to show how good of a coaching staff that Coach Walker's had throughout the years, and how good of a football program and really team feel he has given to Martinsburg over the last 20-plus years.
Looking forward to hearing from both of those coaches a little bit later on in the program. We've got our regular segment as we look ahead to tomorrow's date in sports history. We'll check in on the Redskins. Injury early in camp. Uh-oh.
What's new? There's got to be something.
Yeah, what is it?
I've been talking to you the last couple of weeks saying it was a very quiet offseason for the Redskins, and now, but apparently Deron Payne, the first-round draft pick, the 13th overall pick, had his ankle stepped on, and he will be out for 2 to 3 weeks. Will be in a walking boot for the first week, but apparently, from what I've read and heard, apparently it is very, very precautionary. It's not necessarily out for 3 weeks because they think it's a 3-week injury. It's just to make sure that he is where he needs to be for the heart of preseason, if there is such a thing, and or the start of the regular season.
Yeah, basically all he needs to be back for is preseason game number 3. Because that's typically the game anymore where the starters will play for more than a half and typically up to 3/4.
With the rookies, you usually see them play, even the rookies that are the first, second, third round draft picks. Games 1 through 3, they usually stay in longer. Even if they are going to be a first-string caliber player, you usually see them stay in longer than the rest of the first-teamers. So I think while his spot on the roster is not up in question at all because he's a first-round draft pick, I could see him playing more in the preseason than you'd think. Just based on making sure you know the scheme, making sure you're good with the speed of the NFL, even though once you get into the third and fourth string guys in the preseason, that speed diminishes a little bit.
Yeah, that's part of the reason they're at that depth on the charts.
Yeah, but it just wouldn't surprise me if you saw him play to halftime at least every game.
All right, let's turn our attention to a little baseball.
Do we have to?
We have to.
So we can yell at the Nationals again?
Nobody's yelling.
They need to be yelled at because Davey isn't doing it apparently.
Really?
You don't think he's – all right, because I've said this multiple times. Do you think – what we're talking about is the softness of what I think Davey Martinez is. I think there are two types of managers out there. Three types. There's the good kind of manager, which can flirt with both sides of this.
Right.
Which is the manager that is going to scream, going to yell, not be a player-friendly manager at all, but get results. There's a I want to be your friend manager, which usually doesn't get results. And there's guys in between that, like a Joe Madden, like a Buck Showalter, type it, like Joe Torre, Terry Francona. Those guys found the happy medium. I think Davey is he's still a relatively young manager.
He's a first-year manager.
No, I'm just talking overall age.
Yeah, 50 couple.
For a manager in the major leagues, that's relatively young. And from every press conference we've seen, he's just very no worries.
Mellow.
Yes. And I think the question I've been asking is that strictly a face for the media, or is that also how he interacts with his team? And from the lack of discipline in certain areas and the overall product on the field, I'm starting to think that he is just he's more of a player's manager.
He's too soft.
Yes.
And the players are taking advantage.
I think so.
But it makes no sense to me because if you're a player and you're underachieving, you're underperforming, you're below 500 with a roster that says you should be winning the NL East for a third straight year, then you're not getting away with anything. Your lackadaisical approach, your lack of intensity, whatever it may be, is hurting.
Yeah, but you don't have a manager who, while he may be a nicer manager, more of a player-friendly manager, you need somebody who has the ability to light a fire under butts.
Right.
And if Davey's not doing that, then it's just players getting frustrated.
But why are players not lighting a fire under their own butts? All right, I know they tried. Max Scherzer held the team-only meeting right before the All-Star break, and we see how that crashed, with a thud.
Can you do that noise again?
Something like that. It didn't work, but I don't understand, what that motivation is. How do you not come at it with the intensity level that you need to have? Like yesterday, the Nationals had a chance to at least take 3 out of 4 and stay above 500 in a matchup against the Marlins. The Marlins, the Miami team that before the season ever started, everybody was going off on Derek Jeter and the new ownership group, and they're tanking, and, they're going to be a AAA team, and why are they doing this and trading players and blah, blah, blah. They're going to be the worst thing in baseball. They're not even close to the worst thing in baseball, but they are last in the division, and the Nationals are third in the 4-team division.
Aren't the Mets last in the division?
Are they?
I thought the Mets had taken. I mean, that's neither here nor there.
Either way,
the Marlins are not a good team.
Them and the Mets are battling then for the bottom of the divisions. That's a team you have to beat. And the Nationals came out and had 1 hit until the 9th inning.
Yeah.
And then got their second hit of the game and end up losing 5-0, meaning Saturday.
The day before, Elite only losing 2-1. They
lost,
but only scored 1 run.
So 1 run in the last 2 games of a series that you have to have against a team that's not that good.
I'm going to say it now. The Nationals are done. This series, you can disagree with me, even though I think off air we've started to kind of turn the page here. 6 games back in the NL East in which Philly has not slowed down at all.
No.
And the Braves, while they've slowed down a little bit, are still only a game and a half back. The Nationals are done. They would have to have a record-setting August.
The only thing that gives me pause or hesitation is the fact that it wasn't that long ago that the Nationals beat the Braves, took over first place in the division by a half a game.
Wasn't that long ago?
And you said That's it. The Nationals are not looking back. They're going on to win the division. So if the Nationals could...
Yes, but that was after a May in which they had rattled off 13 wins in 15 games.
And that's what I'm looking for. Now that you have come out and said it's official, Matt Crawford says the Nationals are done. Now I'm expecting the turnaround. What I'm trying to do is play karma here, that what you're saying will hopefully...
If the Nationals were to win 13 of their next 15 games, with how good Philly is playing right now, I don't even think that gets them back in the lead in the East.
Well, the good news is if they would win 13 of the next 15,
that would be against Philly.
They're well, and Atlanta certainly is in there, because next week they've got that, 4 games in 3 days, because they're playing the doubleheader with the makeup of a game that got rained out right after the All-Star break. That'll be, that to me, a week from tomorrow. Really a week from today, because they open that series against Atlanta on Monday, and then they play the doubleheader on Tuesday, August 7th, and then come back and play the Braves again on the 8th. If the Nationals can be a 500 team, if they can, get by the Mets here.
500 team, and after the first week in August, and you think that's a playoff team?
No, they're not playing like a playoff team.
How many teams in history have gone through the first week of August being 500 and managed to make the playoffs?
Well,
not a whole, especially when you look at the NL this year.
But now you've got wild card opportunities. So
yeah, but the odds are the East is going to send at least one of the teams to the wild card.
Potentially. Yeah, I mean, you still have Milwaukee and Chicago battling in the Central. And
the Cubbies are taking the Central. Don't worry about that.
So then Milwaukee's going to be in that mix for one of the wild card spots. You got the Dodgers out west.
And I hate to break it to you, the Pirates are still better than the Nationals right now.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
So while you sit there and talk about the Nationals and all, there's so many other teams there's only so many other teams that are going to be battling for the top. You look at third and fourth place teams around the National League, and there are a lot that are better than the Nationals.
There's still a chance.
Obviously, there's still a chance.
I'm not saying they're going to do it, but
it would take a miracle.
Yeah, it would. I'm not ready to close the door yet, although some things that are going on outside of play on the field are also becoming a bit of a distraction, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in Miller Time.
Let's get a break in. Let's pay some bills.
Yeah, we need a break. All right, we'll talk a little high school football. Martinsburg head coach David Walker, a conversation with him coming up next on Miller Time.
Grab you by the wrist, direct you where to go.
Joe Ferretti Law Office. The most common question I hear from people injured in an automobile wreck or because someone else was at fault is, can their insurance company do that? If you call Ferretti Law Office at 264-8505, I will answer that question and other questions you have for free. Get educated and get ready to fight back. Call 264-8505 to protect your rights and get the compensation you deserve. Put my 31 years of personal injury and trial experience to work for you. At Ferretti Law Office, we're here to help.
The youth of Berkeley County invite you to the 71st Annual Youth Fair, Saturday, August the 4th through Sunday, August the 11th at Harry Shelley Park. Highlights include truck and tractor pulls, demolition derby, bull riding, eating and milking contests, the livestock sale, and a chicken barbecue on Wednesday. Enjoy indoor and outdoor exhibits and the carnival on the Midway. Support our young people at this year's Youth Fair. See the full schedule of events at berkeleycountyyouthfair.org.
I'm Steve Weisman with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The holdout of Raiders All-Pro Khalil Mack shows no sign of ending. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reports that the two sides aren't even talking right now, and there is, quote, no optimism a new contract extension will get done anytime soon. Elsewhere, Steelers wideout Antonio Brown tweeted to Des Bryant on Sunday, telling the free agent receiver to come to Pittsburgh. It's unclear if the Steelers have any interest in Bryant. Pittsburgh did get some good news on guard Ramon Foster. He'll only be out 4 to 5 weeks with a hyperextended knee. Foster was carted off the practice field on Saturday. Meantime, Bucs first-round pick Vita Vea was carted off the field on Sunday. The team later said the defensive tackle suffered a calf strain. And Chargers tight end Austin Roberts tore his ACL at practice. He's the second Bolts tight end to suffer a season-ending knee injury following starter Hunter Henry. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services. If you owe the IRS back taxes, payroll taxes, or have not filed your returns, the IRS will get you. They can take your property, take you to court, even put you in jail. With one call to Wall, you'll never need to talk to the IRS again. Our average client settles for about 10% of what is owed. We offer free face-to-face consultations in your local area. Call 800-727-0433. That's 800-727-0433.
Napa know-how.
If you know how to pick something up and put it in a bucket, you know how to save 20%. This week only, buy a Napa bucket for $2.99, fill it to the top, and boom, you're a savings genius. So hurry in and save, because the Napa 20% off deal ends soon. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating stores, exclusions apply. Minimum 3 items. Offer available July 23rd through July 30th.
Hello, this is Delegate Mike Folk, candidate for West Virginia Senate District 16. I want to extend my personal congratulations to all the Little League All-Stars this summer. As a former 3-sport athlete and Shepherd football player, I understand the importance of discipline, hard work, and perseverance, something our All-Stars have in common. As you continue your journey through this summer and your life, remember this quote from Hall of Famer Jerry Rice, who said, "Today I will do what others won't, so tomorrow I can accomplish what others can't." Best of luck and have a great tournament.
We're talking with Eric Zimney, Vice President of Horse Racing Operations at Charlestown. There's a horse named after the New England Patriots tight end, Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, does he own it? Just get named after him.
He doesn't own it. He won't be there on Saturday. So as a Steelers fan, I'm tempted to, maybe, I don't know, try to barrel roll his knee or something. You don't get torched again like we did last season.
We'll support you on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people outside of Boston will support.
Eastern Panhandle Talk with Rob and David. What did you listen to last week?
Some hand gestures if you're watching on YouTube and WRNR TV. You can see Matt and I in studio. I got a text message. I've got some nieces who were watching, looking in over my wife's phone or iPad, and so I was supposed to wave and say hi. So how are you? And I'm asking them, and we'll see what response I get here in just a few minutes. Pretty cool. People can watch it wherever you may be.
Is that a response? Or?
That's a response. They're in Indiana. Yeah, left about 15 minutes ago on the way back to the Eastern Panhandle. My wife's been on a little bit of a trip, went out and spent some time with families and see some friends as well in Colorado. So they are on the way back and tuning in, again, in Indiana through YouTube TV. Not only listening, but watching us.
So we're going to have that one red blip in Indiana.
There it is. It's pretty cool stuff, isn't it? I mean, just stop and think about it.
Technology is cool and
changing the way we do our jobs.
It is. Technology has its ups and its downs.
Yes.
Right now, Trey Turner's having a down moment, but
we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, let's go high school football. The Martinsburg Bulldogs kicked off officially the 2018 season with practice today at 2:00 in the rain. They were supposed to wrap up at 4. They got off the field just a little bit earlier. I got a chance to get over there and talk with head coach David Walker and ask him about getting the season started.
Oh, it's, there's nothing like to start football season. I mean,
that would actually be Buddy Hessen as the defensive coordinator. Our goal is to hear from him in the second portion of Miller Time, or I guess it would be the third portion, second half of Miller Time, as we break the show down into halves and then portions. If you see Matt and I, we're portion type of guys. I'll take a portion of that and a portion of that, mac and cheese, pork chop. All right, do we have Coach Walker lined up? I was doing a little song and dance for those that didn't realize it. Here's Coach Walker.
It was good. Just get back into it. We had to modify a few things because of the weather, and we got cut out in a rainstorm. But we feel like we got some things done for the first day, considering. So, just try to build on that. And it was nice and cold and cool and rainy. So the kids, I don't know if any of them broke sweat. So, but I think we learned some things and we got in some good skill work.
Did the rain dampen their enthusiasm or almost pick it up a little bit?
Probably picked it up a little bit. I think they enjoyed being out in the rain.
All right, you go right back out again later. How do you kind of break down these days when you get a chance to be on the field twice?
Well, in between, we meet with the kids and just, kind of do some chalk talk. But today's the first day. We always do a double offensive day, so we do 2 offensive practices. So we'll come out and kind of review what we did and add to it, but it'll be pretty much the same format as our first practice. And we'll probably try to do a little more teamwork this practice, depending on what the weather's doing.
Through the summer months, you get an opportunity to work as a team, but a lot of that is 7-on-7 and those types of camps and drills and so forth. How different is it when you're putting the whole team out there in a practice like today?
Well, we look like a team, so that helps. Just having those linemen out there moving around, and when you do some team stuff, just having 11 guys on the field gives a little bit more of a football feel. So I'm happy to see that. But again, until we get pads on, we still look like a bunch of guys out there in their backyard playing football.
When do you get pads on?
Friday.
So until then, how much of what you're doing is conditioning? How much of it is just making sure everybody understands where they're supposed to be and when they're supposed to be there?
It's pretty much both. And really probably more of the latter, probably more of knowing mental stuff. As far as the conditioning, we do conditioning, but, you hope that the guys have been doing it all summer. So, you hope you don't have to spend a lot of time on that. And I feel like our skilled kids are coming here in pretty good shape. So, it's just be a matter of putting them all together. But it's exciting this time of year, trying to get all the pieces in the puzzle, put it in the right place.
Speaking of those pieces, you always lose pieces as seniors graduate, and you gain new pieces as younger players step in. Give us an idea of areas where kind of you're the most concerned.
Concerned, probably, the offensive and defensive line. I think we're going to be all right. I think we'll be pretty good there, but we have some inexperience there. And I think once those guys get enough reps, they'll fall into place. Obviously the quarterback position is an area of attention. So I think once we get those areas taken care of, then it's just a matter of getting enough reps and getting them where they need to be.
I know in years past we've talked about the depth of your team and how you guys are able to really push each other at practice. How much do you look for this team to be able to really push each other as you get into the training camp?
Well, we want to see competition, and I think we've got depth, and I think we've got some competition. We've got 4 running backs that I feel are better than anybody else in the area. So, and those guys are going to have to compete and see which one comes out on top, or which 2 or 3 come out on top, and try to share the load, as best they can. But we're deep at receiver as well. So we've got 6-7 guys that are really good. So it's just a matter of getting the right pieces on the field at the right time and make sure we get a good rotation and get them all opportunities to compete.
2-time defending state champions, the tradition is here. Do you talk about that at all as you're going into the season about, how to handle those things and just keep it even keeled?
We don't even talk about it. It's business as usual. It's just about going out and competing and getting better every day. And we won't talk about any of that stuff, and we never do, so we're just focused on the task at hand.
I'll leave that for guys like us to talk about. Coach, thank you.
And there you hear from Martinsburg head football coach David Walker. We talk about things like back-to-back AAA state football championships, 6 out of the last 8 years. He, the staff, the players, they put it behind them pretty quickly after each of those title runs and start afresh and anew.
And you can put it behind you, but in the back of your head, and the fans know, and even the players know, the tradition of Martinsburg football over the last 8 years. There's only so much you can do to not have that in the back of your head going, okay, but we know what we're capable of. We know what this program has done, but the key is to figure out how to use that as more motivation and not as, okay, we're just going to roll through the playoffs again. And that's a sign of a good coach. And that is why Coach Walker's been able to be successful for this long, is to just keep being able to reinstill that fact.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing sometimes to get into the heads of teenagers, older folks like you or I, let alone, like me, let alone
I'm
teenagers.
Not a teenager
but that ability to be able to stay focused. Look, don't rest on your laurels, but keep pushing to keep that tradition going. We'll hear from defensive coordinator Buddy Hessen in just a bit. Stay tuned for more Miller Time.
CBS News Update. Fire crews in Northern California are making slow headway toward that monster fire burning near Redding. Nearly 1,000 buildings have been destroyed, one of many challenges to firefighters.
Our number one priority is all these areas that are populated and have structures to get the fire to stop there.
Jonathan Cox of CAL FIRE.
More deadly, more destructive fires more often, and it's obviously requiring additional resources, not just from California, but from throughout the United States to get ahead of it.
A 150 square mile area has been charged. 6 people have died in the fire that's about 20% contained. Law enforcement also has its hands full in the fire zone where thousands of homes have been evacuated.
Police are fighting another problem out here as well, looting. They've made 3 arrests so far, including one man who was wearing camouflage and carrying a loaded gun.
CBS's Carter Evans. By one estimate, economic damages will top $100 million. CBS News Update, I'm Gary Nunn.
With your local forecast, weatherman Bob Kukin.
Showers gradually dissipating this evening. We'll be left with clouds overnight, and it's mild and kind of muggy with lows in the upper 60s. For tomorrow, some scattered morning showers and then a better chance of showers and thunderstorms later in the day, and a high temperature getting up to around 84 degrees. Showers likely tomorrow night with lows near 70, and some more showers on Wednesday, and maybe thunder too with a high of 86. I'm Bob Kukin, Talk Radio, WRNR.
You're at a red light. Sometimes it seems like they never change. You wish you could magically turn that red light green. I'm Lori from Bechtel Jewelers. I can't help you with the street lights, but I can help you if you happen to have red lights at home. Red lights at home are even more frustrating than red lights on the street. No matter what you do or say, she gives you the red light. Is it possible to change that red light to green? I have incredible news. Unlike red lights on the street, you really can turn red lights at home into green. Put our light-changing gifts to the test. Stop in at Bechtel Jewelers. In minutes, we'll send you on your way with a little box that has a light-changing surprise for her inside. A beautiful diamond ring, earrings with her favorite gems. We'll help you pick the perfect gift. And when she sees her gift sparkling up at her, well, those red lights at home turn to green. Bechtel Jewelers, Route 11 South, Inwood. We'll help you turn red lights into green.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Sam Darnold has signed, and he's also at camp. He got a slow clap as well from his teammates. $30.2 million, $20 million signing bonus with the New York Jets. Cowboys Cedric Wilson, a torn labrum in his shoulder at practice. The 6th-rounder is undergoing more tests. Panthers cornerback Ross Cockrell has been diagnosed with a broken leg. He's out indefinitely. Good news, I guess, for Carmelo Anthony. His contract buyout with the Hawks is finalized. Now he awaits Wednesday, 5 o'clock Eastern at night. He can clear waivers and potentially sign with the Houston Rockets. Just 9 games on the docket tonight on the Diamond. Headliner Astros at the Mariners. Garrett Cole and James Paxton on the bump. I'm Keith Irizarry. It's NBC Sports Radio and the NBC Sports Radio mobile app.
Talk Radio WRNR, in partnership with Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies, is proud to announce a new way of celebrating the best things in your life with your life announcements. But we need your help. When good things happen to you, we want to hear about it and let others in on it as well. Send us your birthdays and newborn birth announcements, engagements, weddings, wedding anniversaries. We want to hear about your family, your business, your church, or your organization's best moments and accomplishments. Welcome your new neighbors or pat your favorite teacher or coach on the back. Send us your attaboys and your attagirls. To send us your your life announcements, email them to us at promo@talkradiowrnr.com or mail them to Talk Radio WRNR, P.O. Box 709, Martinsburg 25402, or go to www.talkradiowrnr.com for more details. Include as much information as you can, who's extending the wishes, and a way to contact you. We'll broadcast these announcements 3 times per day. It's your life announcements from Farmers and Mechanics Insurance Companies and Talk Radio WRNR.
And we welcome you back into tonight's hour-long edition of Miller Time. The Washington Nationals are off tonight, so we'll wrap things up at 6 o'clock and then get you smoothly into NBC Sports Radio. Tomorrow night, we should be back on until 6:30 as the Nationals and the Mets get ready to meet, although that'll be in D.C., and the rain in the forecast that we're getting today is also there for tomorrow and for Wednesday, and I think for Thursday.
What you're getting at is it's going to be raining for a little while.
It certainly seems like it. And we just got finished raining for a week. So when the rain comes, it comes around here.
In waves, and then it doesn't rain for a month at a time.
So we need the rain. I understand that, but maybe we could spread it out a little more.
It'd be nice.
It would be, because it's creating issues around my home. And around
you do have flooding issues at your house.
A lot of other people I know are dealing with the same thing. So, all right, we'll talk a little more about the Nationals, even during the break, picking up a couple of brand new headlines from the New York Post and NBC Sports. And we'll bring you those headlines about the Nationals. Probably have to talk a little more about it tomorrow evening, but we've already got some off-the-field issues to talk about from the Nationals. And we'll do that once we wrap up our tomorrow's date in sports history.
Well, before we get into our tomorrow's date in sports history, this segment of the show is brought to you by the Washington Nationals. 90s Night is August 2nd. 90s Night, presented by Budweiser, returns to Nationals Park Thursday, August 2nd, so coming up this Thursday. Bring your friends, wear your puffy shirts, and come to the ballpark early and catch a pregame concert by White Ford Bronco. Love the O.J. Simpson reference right there. For tickets and more information, log on to the World Wide Web at WashingtonNationals.com.
Is that you? Do you have a puffy shirt? I mean, would you be a 90s?
I'm a 90s baby, but not a 90s.
Not, right.
I didn't grow up in the 90s.
So, I'm
a 2000s kid. I was born in the
You're
90s.
an aunt. I know you don't believe that that's a word, but
it's not. You make up stuff. I'm telling you.
No, I'm telling you. That's what you
make
are.
up stuff. Do you want to look at tomorrow in sports history?
I want to hear it. Let's go.
Taking a look at the 31st of July, the last day of July in sports history. 1928, the first woman to win a track and field Olympic gold medal of Poland. She was Polish. Halina Konopaka.
Nice job on the name.
Nice Polish. I have Polish ancestry, so I can read names like that. When your ancestor's last name was Pschibel, you can tend to read things like that.
Was what again?
Pschibel.
Spelled?
P-S-H-I-B-O-L. Pschibel.
Nice.
It changed to Seibel when they came across because that was just too difficult. But yeah. 1930, Lou Gehrig hits a grand slam as the Yankees beat the Red Sox 14-13.
Wow.
Very young picture of Lou Gehrig on here, too.
Needed all of those runs.
Yeah. It's a high-scoring game.
Yeah.
Moving on down the list, 1961, the 31st Major League Baseball All-Star Game. So a late All-Star game. I thought we were done with those scores. Ends in a tie. A 1-1 tie. Apparently pitching was really good that year.
Okay, what year was that again?
1961.
And yet we didn't have the World Series host determined by the All-Star game from then all the way through. Come on, Bud Selig. Look back in history and you can see a tie in the All-Star game, and they didn't have to go to goofy extremes.
If you would let me finish, you would know why it ended in a tie.
Okay.
If you didn't so rudely interrupt me.
I'm sorry.
It ended in a tie because of rain at Fenway Park. I'll accept your apology later in the show when you apologize for the other thing that you were wrong about.
What else was I wrong about?
That the Mets are at the bottom of the NL East.
Hold on. Let's just take care of it now. Sorry, Matt.
Thank you. 1978, Pete Rose ties the NL hitting streak record at 44. The 1981 Major League Baseball players' strike ended tomorrow after 42 days. 1987 Oriole Eddie Murray hits his 299th and 300th career home run on the 31st of July in 1987.
He was fun to watch. He could hit a baseball.
1988, the Miami Dolphins beat the San Francisco 49ers 27-21 in London.
On tomorrow's day?
I'm reading it off.
Must have been an exhibition preseason opener.
It is amazing how many records Nolan Ryan has. 1990, he becomes the 20th Major League pitcher to win 300 games. I don't think there's a pitching stat that he's not near the top of.
I was going to say, he's probably top 5 in a lot, including walks, because he walked a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Strikeouts, he's at the top. Wins, he's pretty good.
A couple of trades in the mid to late 90s. 93, the A's trade Ricky Henderson to the Blue Jays at the end of the trade deadline. And in 1997, the Oakland A's are involved in a trade again. They send Mark McGwire to where he would be remembered most, St. Louis.
Hey, that's a perfect segue to talk about the Washington Nationals.
And one more for you. In 2016, the 98th PGA Championship, Jimmy Walker wins his first major by one shot at the Barstool Golf Club.
Jimmy Boom Boom Walker?
Sure.
It was before your day. Don't worry about it. There are people in the audience who get that.
And that is your look at tomorrow in sports history.
All right, back to our segue about players going, trade deadlines right around the corner. We talked about it briefly last week on Friday. Are the Washington Nationals nearing a point where they make the determination whether they're buyers, sellers, or stay-putters? And
is that an official term? Stay-putters?
I think so. You told me I make up words, so I'm coining it right now. I don't know if they're going to. Right now, I'm looking at them kind of being stay-putters. You know, when you look at they have a talented roster.
Thing either. Usually you hear some sort of somebody's being shopped around. There may be something working late, but you haven't heard anything out of the Nationals.
There is some angst, though, apparently in the organization. There was an interesting article that I read a piece of to you earlier where, on Saturday night, the loss against the Marlins was a walk-off 2-1 loss, and Real Muto, the catcher, had that game-winning RBI hit. After the game, Bryce Harper apparently had a quote of saying, gee, that never would have happened if he'd have been on our side. Basically making a backhanded remark towards the front office, who supposedly during this time of trades and trade deadlines had been looking at potentially trying to get Real Muto to improve the Nationals catcher spot. There had been also rumors of maybe Wilson Ramos returning to D.C. from Tampa. And so there seems to be this little bit of an angst, at least between Harper and the front office. And I'm sure he's speaking on behalf of other players that maybe feel like there should have already been some moves made.
First of all, Bryce Harper's got enough to worry about in his own game to not be commenting on how the front office is doing. Do I maybe agree with him in a way? Yeah, sure. You'd like to add a piece, and behind the plate is one of those pieces. How do you feel if you're Matt Wieters? Or any catcher on the Nationals roster?
Keyboom.
Yeah, Spencer Keyboom. How are you feeling to have one of your players go, if we would have gotten somebody to replace the two donks we have behind the plate now, maybe we wouldn't be in this situation? That's good. That's a good teammate for you right there.
Oh, yeah.
Here, help me lift this bus up you just threw me under. And, this team succeeded last year. And really, you're concerned that you lost a 2-1 game to the Marlins? And your issue with the game is that, maybe that walk-off in the 10th inning wouldn't have happened if he was on our team. Maybe if you're Bryce Harper, you should worry about your offense scoring more than one run over a 2-game span.
And Bryce, you're not exactly beating the cover off the ball.
A whopping 220. Woo! Congratulations, you lead the team in home runs at 25 and RBIs at 62. You either hit a long ball or strike out. You're doing a lot more striking out than you are hitting the long ball. He had 20 home runs going into the All-Star. No, it was
21, 22, right around there.
So in the last 2 weeks, congratulations. You've done nothing but hit 3 home runs and not a whole lot else. He's got enough to worry about with his own game. And to me, it's shut up and play baseball.
Well, let me bring up 2 quick headlines. We'll talk about these stories a little more on tomorrow's program. One from the New York Post that reads, the Nationals are, quote, a mess, unquote, with fingers pointing at rookie manager. Now, I don't know if that's fingers from within the clubhouse or the organization. I caught that during our
bottom of the hour break. Bryce Harper. He's not afraid to point out any flaws in the organization.
Well, so again, we'll address that article a little bit tomorrow. But NBC Sports also has an article that says, this was their headline, the Nationals have no idea what they're doing. And that leads me, at least when I read that, I think they're talking organization as a whole. Yeah. Again, I haven't looked at that article, but I'm just gathering that the New York Post piece is kind of looking at the managerial situation, while the NBC Sports piece is kind of looking at it that, look, from the GM all the way down through, this organization doesn't seem like they are all pointing in the same direction. We'll talk about those articles tomorrow, but that gives you an idea of where the Nationals are. Oh, and by the way, I think I read an article about Trey Turner having some tweets or something that were discovered.
He pulled a Josh Hader.
Yeah. And they're the same era, right? You know?
Relatively, yeah.
So you're talking young guys that at the time didn't think anything about, being with friends and putting something out there that was mostly for their buddies to pick up on and maybe laugh about, draw a smile, draw a reaction, whatever it may be, that now are coming back to haunt these guys.
Again, not condoning anybody being racist, anybody being discriminatory or derogatory terms towards any group of people, not condoning that at all. But everybody who's digging these tweets up and everybody who has an issue with this, to me, I'm going, okay, I want you to lay out every mistake you ever made, and I'm going to rake you over the coals for it. Okay, this was 6 years ago. He says this stuff 2 weeks ago. Okay, maybe we're having a little bit of a different conversation. But somehow I think as a teenager or maybe in your early 20s if you were Trey Turner at that point, to me, he's probably matured a tad since then. Maybe not a whole lot, but I'm sure that those are not still his views right now. And the fact that this is where we are as media and in the society where you're digging up tweets from 6 years ago and making them headline news, move on.
Well, and what's crazy about this scenario, unlike the Josh Hader scenario, where I'm not sure who dug those up. I haven't read or seen or heard where someone came upon those. But
and why? That's right. My biggest thing is who is sitting there going, I'm going to scroll through Josh Hader's Twitter for 45 minutes till I get back to 2012 looking for dirt. Is that sir? That's where we are as media or something right now?
Or but I mean, someone at least, maybe not media, someone who lives in their parents' basement, maybe I guess did that, and then media catches up to it when they then retweeted or, hey, did you know? But the timing of that was pretty unusual too. It was
in the
like
middle of an all-star
right,
game.
Yeah, it's like political season when you've got that thing that you can hold until the last possible second and then go, look at this. Why was that timing there at the All-Star game?
Right when he went on, it was right when he went on the mound.
Yes. So it's somebody's holding that there's more to that than just, oh, hey, we found these. And it's the same situation here because apparently there was, from what the article in the Washington Post calls it, a Nationals-centric Twitter page that fans, I'm assuming, somebody went back and found some tweets for a player from the Atlanta Braves. And they brought those to light and brought shame to him and made him now have to come forward and apologize. So now it seems that these Trey Turner tweets were dug up by Braves fans. So now all of a sudden we've got fandom going to a crazy extreme that says, I want to start checking Twitter pages for all of the guys on the other teams. And then, well, if you can't beat them on the field, I guess you beat them at the Twitter page game.
Apparently that's where we are right now as a society.
Can we just play baseball and let the chips fall where they may? And then you get into the craziness that, again, I'm with you. I wouldn't put these things out there, and I don't condone a lot of what was said, but the same situation, one at least of the text or Twitter messages from Josh Hader was in this same regard. Trey Turner, they say right here in the Washington Post article, it was a line from a movie, the movie White Chicks. I don't know that movie.
You ever seen the movie White Chicks?
Nah.
Oh, it's funny. You should watch it.
I'm an old fart. I've never seen a movie like that. But, okay, so it was okay for someone to write it in a script. It was okay for directors to direct people saying it on a screen and making it into a movie. But if you put it out on your Twitter account, something's the matter with Matt Crawford. And now we're going to hold Trey Turner's feet to the fire because he tweeted something that he saw or heard in a movie. We do that stuff around here all the time. It's gotten crazy.
It's where we are right now.
It's a wonderful society we live in.
Take it or leave it. That is where we are as a society right now.
I would like to leave it. I don't want to take it. Can we stop all of that stuff? But again, it takes us back to where we were before, and that is the warning. Be careful what you put out there. It is always on the World Wide Web somewhere. And someone who has the ability will find it, and then it will come right back to you, and it won't always be good. All right, we got a little more high school football to talk about, right? We still have Buddy Hessen, defensive coordinator for the Martinsburg Bulldogs, next on Miller Time.
Hey, Sherry. My car needs a West Virginia State inspection sticker, an oil change, some brakes, and I'm pretty sure I need new tires, too. Do you know of a good and honest place that won't rip off a lady? Do you know a place like that, Sherry?
Sure I do, Crusha. I've lived around here my whole life. There's only one place like that around here that I go to, and that's Pennington's Auto Center. It's the only place to go to for all of your car repair needs.
What's the name of that place again?
Pennington's Auto Center on Edwin Miller Boulevard in Martinsburg. Ask for Jeff. He'll take great care of you.
Let's see. Load the clothes in the washing machine. Add detergent. Turn on the washer. Wait, where's all this water coming from? Oh, no!
Disasters happen. Fire, water, and natural disasters. Tell your insurance provider you prefer Blue Ridge Property Restore. Blue Ridge Property Restore, getting you back from disaster faster.
She's gonna kill me. The youth of Berkeley County invite you to the 71st Annual Youth Fair, Saturday, August the 4th through Sunday, August the 11th at Harry Shelley Park. Highlights include truck and tractor pulls, demolition derby, bull riding, eating and milking contests, the livestock sale, and a chicken barbecue on Wednesday. Enjoy indoor and outdoor exhibits and the carnival on the Midway. Support our young people at this year's Youth Fair. See the full schedule of events at berkeleycountyyouthfair.org.
Don't miss your chance to hang out with WVU Mountaineer play-by-play announcer Tony Caridi at the 9th Annual Inside the Huddle event, Friday, August 17th from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. at the riverfront properties of Terry Hess and Rick Pill at 911 Hoffman Road, Martinsburg, West Virginia. Tickets are just $40 a piece with a wide variety of sponsorship packages. For more information, call 304-263-1832. Don't miss the 9th Annual Inside the Huddle with Tony Caridi, Friday, August 17th.
WVU Medicine is committed to recruiting highly qualified medical professionals and is pleased to introduce several new providers who've joined our medical staffs at Berkeley Medical Center and Jefferson Medical Center. Dr. Barnaz Hushman, Pulmonology, Dr. Craig Clark, Orthopedics, Dr. Jeffrey Bowman, Obstetrics and Gynecology, Dr. Kevin Hibbett, General Surgery, Dr. Sam Wango, Hematology Oncology, Dr. Consuelo Cruden-Parham, Obstetrics and Gynecology, and Dr. Apoorv Prasad, Neurology. WVU Medicine, growing to meet the needs of our community.
The final segment of today's Miller Time as we wrap it up at 6 o'clock this evening. Thank you for joining us. I don't think we say that enough around here sometimes. But
it is appreciated.
Absolutely. Certainly appreciate you making us a part of your drive home or your evening right before dinner, or maybe you listen to us during the meal. If you do, you're probably spitting food at times over some of the things that we say, but we apologize for that. All right, let's talk a little high school football. Again, we heard earlier from Martinsburg head coach David Walker. Let's hear from defensive coordinator Buddy Hessen. When you look back at Martinsburg's state championship run each of the last 2 years, it was led by a pretty good offense, but really led by a very good defense.
And a good front seven.
Yes.
I mean, the secondary was good. They did what they had to do. But really, I think the heart and soul of that team was in the trenches, and especially that front seven on the defensive side. I mean, you just look at some of the talent there and where they have moved on to. You have a Shepherd Ram, you have Fairmont, you have Trey Henry, who's going to Fairmont State, and then you have Tavis Lee, who's going to be a Mountaineer. So that was a very talented front seven.
Absolutely. Well, we started with Coach Hessen by just talking to him about the joy of getting practice started.
Oh, it's, there's nothing like to start football season. I mean, kids have been working since last season for this very day, and now the day's upon us.
And the day comes with a whole lot of rain. How challenging was that for the first practice?
We were able to get some work in before the heavy stuff started. We came off the field, 5-10 minutes early. But for the most part, we got in what we thought we'd get in.
When you look back in June and the 3 weeks you get in the summer, there's a lot of that 7-on-7 going on, and most of that tends to lead towards things you can do offensively. Does that help you, though, defensively?
Well, it does. I mean, coverage-wise, things we want to do, things we're looking at, maybe possibly adding to what we already do. You can work on those things, and we were able to do a lot of that stuff this spring, and hopefully it carries over into the season.
What is it you see in your secondary? You do seem to have a lot more guys back there than maybe other parts of your defense.
Yeah, I think our back seven will be last year it was the front seven, especially those three guys up front, were the strength of our defense. Now I think this year's going to be the back seven with you have Teddy and Michael and Grant back, Dwayne and Ricky and AP linebacker. So we're pretty loaded in the back half, and it'll give those guys up front time to get their feet under them.
Mentioning those guys up front, what's the challenge there? How young are you really up front?
Well, we're not really that young. I mean, Ty Lucas played a ton last year. AJ Brenninger played a ton. Real excited about Luke Sealinger, who was a linebacker last year. We moved him. He's going to put his hand on the ground, play some DN for us. We got a bunch of kids. Michael Colonnade, Benarski. I mean, we got kids that I think they're going to, but you're losing Jalen, Tavis, and, and those guys. And everybody say there might be a little drop-off, but I think we'll still be pretty good up front.
When you come into camp like this, do you look for your defense to be a little ahead of the offense just because you're more reactionary to what they're doing?
Yes and no. I mean, like I said, with all the 7-on-7 stuff, your quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs, I mean, they're out every day throwing, catching, whatever. With your line, you're limited at what you can. You can walk through your plays and things of that nature, but that's it. Me, I'm always, I'm thinking you need to put the pads on. If you're a lineman, you got to feel who you're blocking or who's trying to block you, things like that.
Take us into the depth of your defense. When you look at years past, you talk to me all the time about how you guys push each other in practice. Are you that deep again?
In the back half, we are, and I think we'll get there up front as well. I mean, we got some guys that played meaningful snaps last year, and we got some guys coming up from the JV level that go get their feet wet. But we'll be able to build some depth up front. I just think in the back half, I mean, we have numerous combinations I can play at corner, safety, inside, outside linebacker. We're extremely deep there. I think the depth up front will come.
Coach, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Matt.
And there you hear from Buddy Hessen, defensive coordinator for the Martinsburg Bulldogs. Keep it tuned right here on Miller Time, and throughout the course of the week, we'll try to be talking with each of the area football coaches. We got a chance last week to catch up with Joey Urish going into camp. We did the same thing with Brian Thomas as they opened last night at midnight. I wonder if their eyes are open yet today. I mean, they're open, but I'm sure they're heavy.
Yeah, they're a little foggy.
And so and the rest,
it's crazy the football's here already.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody else open today. So we're efforting with Chad Williams up at Spring Mills, and hopefully we can catch up with them at practice tomorrow, and we'll bring you those comments tomorrow evening on Miller Time.
And then Shepherd's right around the corner. WVU's going. I think WVU starts camp this week.
I believe so. Shepherd, I believe, is at least another week and a half away. Is it really that early?
I think so.
That'll be one of the earlier camps, I believe, for Shepherd. And, of course, a lot of new faces even in the coaching staff down at Shepherd University.
The football's here. That is all that matters.
Fun time of year. All right, that's going to do it for today's Miller Time on Talk Radio, WRNR Martinsburg.
Here's your local news from Talk Radio, WRNR. According to a press release from the Martinsburg Police Department, on Thursday, detectives with the MPD conducted a targeted enforcement of solicitation of prostitution in the city. Using a female cooperating individual, officers arrested 8 men. Edward Wesley Jr., 60, and Samuel Mellett, 52 of Martinsburg, Larry Buracker, 72, and Deontay Glover, 20 of Inwood, Floyd S. Fates Jr., 63 of Harpers Ferry, Joseph Druzwecki, 59 of Ranson, Rodney Colbreth, 26, and Eddie Rivera, 55 of Winchester, were all arrested and charged with solicitation of prostitution.